Do I ever tell you that I created the Farrah Fawcett haircut?
No, I did.
No, I did.
No, I did.
I did.
I did.
So, Jason, let's get one thing straight. You didn't do the Farrah. What a joke. I did the Farrah, and I'm Alan Edwards. And you can look it up. It's all over YouTube. It's everywhere. I'm the guy who created it for Charlie's Angels and Farrah Fawcett.
Real hairdressers telling real stories that are 100% true, and quite possibly sometimes the stupidest shit you've ever heard. This is Shit I Told My Hairdresser. Hello and welcome back to Shit I Told My Hairdresser. We have Paula with us today, and also we have a special, very, very special guest. This is someone who I looked up to in the hairdressing industry for years. We've met a long time ago, one time through a mutual friend years ago, and I'm pretty sure you don't remember, but if you're a hairdresser, you have tried and have probably done it, but tried to go through and mimic what this guy has gone through and done. Everyone knows this man's work, whether you realize that you've been trying to go through and do his haircuts or mimic them or copy them, you've done it, you've tried it, and we're still doing it, especially right now. I think it's your haircut that you did was so relevant to this day. That's amazing. So I'd like to introduce my friend, Alan Edwards.
Well, hi, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Awesome. And the haircut that I'm talking about is the Farrah Fawcett. This is the guy who created the Farrah Fawcett haircut, that soft, those movable layers, that especially right now, we call it like the butterfly cut.
Yeah, right. It comes up with all these new names.
Yeah,
All these new names, you know what I mean? And it's like, we're still trying to recreate this work that you have done to this day.
I see the new work of it, and it's all done with curling irons, and it's got a different look to it.
Yes.
First of all, the iron is big. I mean, Farrah's hair was on the big side. That's why people in Dallas loved it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And it had that feather thing around the face, and it was. And I didn't think anything of it. It was just another haircut that I did on her. And, I saw her on television in a Wella Blossom commercial, and I said, "God, I'd really like to cut her hair." And a month later, she's sitting in my salon waiting for a haircut.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I've got to tell you, here in Salt Lake City, I worked with a lot of hairdressers that took credit for creating that haircut. And I worked with one hairdresser. He said, "Yeah, I created that haircut."
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So many of them took credit for it. I mean, that's how, and that's a big flattery to you. But some of them, I would, one hairdresser, I looked at him, I said, "Okay, well, that haircut was created in 1976. And you were born in 1978. So people,
yeah, right. I was going to say half of them aren't even old enough to create that haircut. Now the story,
I was three. But how did it happen, Alan? How did this happen?
Well, the good story of it, as far as somebody taking credit, is José Eber, because you know who he is, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So José still says he created the Farrah. And I'll tell you the story later under the second half of Shit We All Know, because it's really a good story. How did it happen? She came in and her hair was sort of one length, and it was too blonde, and I just thought it needed to be cut up more and move more. And I created this way of blowing a dry called blow curl, where I would blow the hair almost 80% dry, pick up a smaller brush, set half of it around the brush, blow it, let it dry, flip it around my finger, and put a pin curl in it. Like clip in it. And I would do the whole head like that, take them all out, turn her head upside down, and that's what happened. And that's how it started. And
that's how I do a lot of my brides' hairs.
Guess what?
I mean, a lot of my brides, when they want the big, huge hair, that's how I do it.
Yeah, a lot of people do pin curl setting now, but they do it with the hair real wet. I had it almost dry. So I was only basically curling the last half, not the base. So the top, see, the top stayed flat and then it came
Uh-huh.
out. Yeah. There's a video of me doing it on YouTube.
Oh,
Well,
Somewhere
I'm
in
gonna
there.
watch that.
I'm gonna
I'm
have
gonna
to
watch
find that
that.
and link it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I have to link it to the show. But that's the thing is that creating these like iconic styles, you had no idea that you're actually doing it while it's happening until afterwards. Then it just kind of blows up, and that took your
Yeah.
career to a completely different level at that point,
Well,
right?
yeah, because what it did for me is, I was partnered with John Peters, who ended up living with Barbara Streisand, and John was a
Yeah.
great hairdresser. But John introduced me to doing PR, having a PR company, and
Mhm.
so when I bought John out and took over the salons, I wanted to go on television, and doing the Farrah opened the door. So the PR company was able to say, I've got the guy who created the Farrah Fawcett to go on Regis. So my first Regis show, he said, oh my God, here's Alan Edwards, the man who created the fabulous Farrah Fawcett haircut. And then the bomb exploded. I mean, when I did the first Regis show, maybe 300 people called. I mean,
Whoa.
it called all the salons. We had 7 salons then. And it was, and I did not hundreds, but many, many Regis shows and Oprah shows and all that. But the Farrah was the door opener.
Yeah, that
So
was. I remember when I was a kid looking up at that haircut, and my mom's a hairdresser. I grew up around the hairdressing industry, so for me, seeing that kind of stuff, I mean, to this day, it's still like ingrained in my head.
Oh yeah,
And
that
I
poster
and I
was up in
know
the
I still try to do it inside the salon. I'm still inside the salon 4 days a week, so it's like to
yeah,
me, it's
that
like
part.
that very iconic, very soft style.
but growing up in that era of hairdressing, the Farrah was an amazing thing. I mean, I don't think I would have not got as far, but the press, the PR, the fame of creating the Farrah opened so many doors for me. But my love of doing hair was creating short haircuts. I mean, when I first saw Vidal Sassoon cut hair, that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to do it my way. I didn't
Yeah.
really learn the Sassoon geometric way of cutting. John taught me a way of cutting hair using tapering scissors, texturing scissors way back in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And that came from another hairdresser named Jean Shkov. And so that was my method of cutting hair and teaching hair, was using tapering scissors back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, all through our education through the salons, plus using straight and some geometric. But it was more of a freestyle, faster way of cutting, a more of an explosive way of cutting,
Yeah.
and created basically the same haircuts that Sassoon people cut it, like the bobs and geometrics and haircuts like your haircut, asymmetricals. That's what I love doing, and still love doing it, and still love teaching it.
See, I worked in a salon that was trained with your technique, and I remember seeing that technique used over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and I loved it. And we actually changed a lot of the techniques with Tony and Guy because we started seeing it in California, and we brought that back to London. And back then it was like, oh, we're purists. We only use the scissors until we started shredding everything up with the texturizing scissors, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, this changes everything. And
Right.
so it changed the texture. And so to me, it's like what you're saying. It's like learn everything, but use the best tools to get you to where the point that you want to be at the fastest and get the best end result.
Well, my motto with cutting hair is see it, feel it, cut it. Visualize it, feel the texture, and then cut it.
Nice.
So it becomes more of an art form than a technical 45 into a 90, hold it out, take each section. It becomes more like, I could cut long hair into a perfect asymmetrical bob probably in maybe 10 minutes because I know where I'm going.
Yeah, I
You know
watched
what
a
I mean?
video on that last night. Because I'm Vidal Sassoon trained,
Yeah.
as you can see. So I watched you do a video with the texturizing
Oh, yeah,
shears
right.
to the
Yeah.
asymmetric bob, and my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Absolutely blown. I would have had no idea that was possible. So I'm gonna rewatch it and give it a try.
It's just
I know.
it's just a different form, it's like it's just a different form of cutting. It comes from a different place. It comes from a more internal, I was an ex-dancer, I play trumpet, I sing. I have an entertaining background, so it comes from an entertainment side. It's like, I got hired by KMS to introduce KMS to the country, and I did a big show for 5,000 people, and I figured, lucky, I can't go out there and teach them how to cut a bob. Stupid. But I'm going to go out there and be Mick Jagger. So I created a way of cutting hair to music because of my dance background. So I
Oh.
came out there with a long head of hair and ripped through this haircut and cut her hair all off with basically in maybe 5 minutes. And the audience went crazy because I was doing it to the beat of the music. And I did this all over the country. And Clairol saw, then they hired me and they had me do shows all over the country. But it was mainly for thousands of hairdressers, not a small shows. It was from 1,000 to 5,000 people. And, when I was finished, it was standing ovation. And it was because I excited them eternally. That was the whole idea. Not to cut the hair in a 45. And I think it's great, but I needed to be different. So I created this cutting. And actually, Tony and Guy, after Laurel went with Tony and Guy, I watched, who was it, Anthony, try to cut hair to music.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we did the 10-minute
I
pixie.
remember those days.
It was
We
really
started-
funny. It was
we-
kind of,
We started doing the 10-minute pixie. We started copying you, and we did the 10-minute pixie.
I knew Laurel must have influenced that cutting hair to music. It was sort of a white guy trying to break dance. You know what I mean? It was like, there was no soul to it. He just got up there and cut it really fast,
Yeah.
But he was a great hairdresser. They were all, I admired all of them.
They all did
That's
great
what's so
work.
greid.
They all did great work. You know what I mean? We all
Great.
we got pull inspiration from everywhere, so.
Yeah. But I don't know if you know that I cut Marcia Clark for the OJ trial.
Oh, I know. I was
You
about
were
to
the-
ask you
you were
about
the
that.
one.
Yes.
You were the one. Yeah. You brought her back to
That was kind of
present.
that was a
Yeah.
crazy fluke thing because I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't a great haircut. She came in with that little perm, and I just I treated her like a client. I I slowly got her out of the perm, and then one day I blew it out, and then she walked into the trial, and Judge Ito said, "Marcia, you look fabulous." I mean, what's judge in a murder trial? And then that bomb was almost bigger than Farrah. I mean, I was doing TV, radio shows in Switzerland. I mean, they were calling me
Wow.
from all over the world because I blew her. I cut her a little short haircut. I mean, it's crazy.
I was an assistant hairdresser working for Guy, actually from Tony and Guy. I was his assistant when that haircut happened. And let me tell you, it was a haircut that rocked the world. It was seen
That's so funny.
globally. Everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone was like, "Oh my God, did you see it?" And it was like, that was Alan. And it was so amazing. And that's the thing is like people, they sometimes now that when I tell people about like, "Oh, Marcia Clark," and they go, "Oh yeah, OJ Simpson." I'm like, "Remember that haircut?" And they go, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's Alan."
But
And they're blown away.
one of my favorite haircuts I created was on Donna Mills for Knox Landing, where I cut her hair in a bob and scrunched it. So that started scrunching
Yeah.
on Donna. Donna was a very she was a great client. Any TV show that I did that they wanted a celebrity, Donna did it for me. And I cut Mary Hart's hair off too when she went on hosted with Regis. And I also cut the big one I cut too that didn't get enough press was I cut Raquel's hair all off short.
Really?
Yeah, she came in on a Wednesday in Beverly Hills, and it was packed. And she goes, "I have to cut my hair off. I couldn't get this part because I had long hair, and they said I'm looking too old," something like crazy stuff. And what am I going to say? No? And I was already behind. So I took her in the back, and I actually permed it. She wanted to perm it. It's like, okay, we'll just do all this. And she had that shorter haircut.
Wow.
And then
That's
she kept
incredible.
she kept the short haircut for years. But she wasn't really a great one to give credit to. Somebody once interviewed her. She went to New York and did a play called Women of the Year and had the short haircut. And somebody was interviewing on her new look. And she said she cut it herself. So,
Oh, okay.
but
That's
so
not cool.
no. So so the total not cool. This is how Farrah and I ended. She went on a show like Mike Douglas. I don't remember who the host was. And near the end of the show, he says to her, he goes, "Your hair is like the most famous hair in the world." She goes, "Well, who does your hair?" And I just did her hair. And
Uh-huh.
she goes, oh, I do it myself. I just put it on top of my head and I twist it around and it falls down. I was like, what did you just say? So,
Whoa.
a couple weeks go
Oh,
by or so, and she comes to the salon, and I take her outside, and I said, "Why? Why did you do that?" She goes, "I'm just so tired of everybody talking about my hair." So I did it. I said, "Well, you know what? Because you do it so good yourself, go do it yourself."
you
And I
said that to Farrah?
virtually told her to
Whoa.
leave the
There you
salon. Yeah,
go.
and that was
See,
my
and that's yeah.
All right. All
and
right.
that was the end of the relationship. And that was her last. She was done with Charlie's Angels. It was
Okay.
at the very, very end when that happened. And then I guess she was friends with José. And when I was we were in San Francisco shooting Wella Balsam, and we didn't have much of a tight relationship at all. I was her hairdresser, you might say. She didn't even introduce me by name. It was like, this is my hairdresser, you know that.
Oh, I
And
know.
right.
Yeah.
So she bought, I think, José that hat in San Francisco in the middle of the forest in some cabin that was selling candles and hats and stuff. But she always knew José, but didn't go to him for this. And then afterwards, he started saying he created it. And so, a real quick story: I went on I did Marcia Clark, and the press was Alan, who created the fabulous Farrah, creates Marcia Clark. Blah 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 blah. I got a phone call from Farrah's agent, and I thought, oh, maybe she wants me to do her hair again. And I was just ready to fly that night to do the Oprah show. And
Mhm.
so she says, Farrah's very upset with you because you're saying that she created. I said, are you joking? I said, look, you and I know who created the Farrah. She goes, well, that's beside the point. She goes, Farrah says José created it. I said, you tell Farrah, I hope she's feeling better because apparently she's having a lapse of memory.
Yeah.
Right? And then so I do it, and I'm on. So guess who's on the show with me? José. He's sitting right
Uh-huh.
next to me on the Oprah show, right?
Yeah.
And talking about his hair pieces. Remember, he had that, and I
Yeah.
almost knocked his hat off by accident. I had my arm around the back of the chair, and I lifted my arm and I flicked the back of his hat. That would have been
Uh,
great. I
that
should
would
have
have
knocked
been
it
Oh, I
off.
amazing.
would love that.
So another month goes by, so I get a call from a lawyer wanting to sue me for saying I do the Farrah. So I said to him, okay, I'm going to send you something. And then when you get it, I'm going to sue you. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. So I sent him a picture of me and Farrah in the LA Times with me sitting behind her with the Farrah saying, Alan Edwards creates a fabulous Farrah for Charlie's Angels. And
Yep.
that was it. I never heard the rest of it.
I
But
saw that picture online. I saw it. It was a
yeah.
fantastic photo.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a great
it's like,
picture.
yeah, great
Boy, I
photo.
look young, huh?
You look great.
I look something like a long hair
You look
rock star.
Yeah. Well, I remember the
Um,
TV commercials you used to do. I used to watch them as a kid. You know what I mean? It was
yeah, the
like,
Wella. Yeah.
yeah.
The Wella Blossom. But she was nice, but I didn't have that personal connection like I did with Donna Mills. I had that personal and a little bit with Cal Welsh and
Oh,
I
beautiful
was
woman.
never I didn't love doing movie stars. I love doing real people, and I
Yeah.
love creating haircuts. I've actually like Shelley Long came in once for a consultation, and we virtually almost got into a fight. You know what I mean? She's
Yes.
just
I hear you. Yeah.
and she's a total bitch. I
I
I've
mean,
can see
heard.
that. I can
I
see
she
have
that.
thinks
heard. Yeah.
she thinks she's something else. It's like, and
Yeah.
it was like, you came for me for a consultation. I'm telling you what you should do. Don't keep interrupting me and telling me what to do. You know?
Do you feel that there's a lot of pressure when you're doing celebrities like that to go through and like nail it? Is that why you don't like doing it, or just because of their
Oh,
like fucking
I
attitude? You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know.
I actually had a bigger attitude than they do. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
was
Yeah.
my own star. I just didn't take any crap from anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, and I learned that from John. John turned me into a bad boy. I mean, I've been to a few fistfights, and John taught me all that. I mean, it was just like, I'm a hairdresser, but I'll kick your ass.
Totally.
Um,
Yeah.
Thank goodness
um,
we don't have HR.
yeah, right. Thank
Oh,
God
we
it's
do.
not. Today. Yeah, thank God we didn't have HR. I'd be in big trouble. No, my whole thing was about running a tight salon and training, and you have to dress in black. You can't come in late. You got to wear makeup, and you can't screw up. And
Yeah.
we're gonna have a talk, but that doesn't go on anymore because of the booth rental.
Yep.
People are all independent and they do whatever they want. My working for me, I took you from zero to 3,000 a week. So my
Whoa.
and so my goal as an owner, my responsibility was to build you, not yours. My responsibility is to train you and then build you and then make half the money, not have you rent for 300-400 a week. You gave me at
Right.
least half. And there's people back east that got more than half. We were at the 50% thing for years. But I built you from nothing and then put you on the floor and put you in hair shows and have you work with me on TV shows and doing makeovers. And we did the Lisa show. We would do every month 5-6 makeovers on the Lisa TV show, and I would bring people to do it, and I would talk about them. It wasn't all about me. I wanted people to feel good about themselves and do big hair shows. And I did the hair show for Horse. He does Congress, right?
Yeah,
You know
from
what that is.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I went partners with my old partner, and we were in the Veda Concept Salon, which I loved. And we went to Congress, and we're sitting in the audience, and my partner says to me, he goes, I said to him, I go, we're going to be up on that stage next year. And he goes, what? So I said, you'll see. So I go to the bathroom, I come back, I run right into Horse.
Yeah.
And Horse goes, oh my God, Alan Edwards, I can't believe you're here. I've been watching you on TV my whole life. They're like, it was like great. I didn't even think he knew who I was.
Yeah.
And he goes, will you do the show next year? I went, yeah, sure. And sure enough, we did the Horse. We did that show, and I did my dancing thing and cutting hair to music and the high energy thing. And he walks up to me, and goes, I have never seen a show like that, ever.
There
And
you
he
go.
goes, and then he asked me to MC the next year. So I MC Congress the next year. But that's what it was about to me. It wasn't about the movie stars.
There
It
was a
wasn't about the
trade-off.
money. It was about being good at what I do and great at
Well,
what I do.
It
You
sounds
know?
like your strength and your happiness comes from mentoring, which is an amazing thing to do because not a lot of hairdressers
Yeah.
are like that. In my experience, especially with male hairdressers, they're about bringing people down to make themselves look better. And you gave these people a huge gift of bringing them up, and that's really admirable. So thank you for that.
And, well, that's what my job was. I played the trumpet for 9 years. That's what I was going to do for a living. And after high
Mhm.
school, I quit. And I was hanging out in nightclubs, dancing, and being that guy. And somebody came up to me and go, "Why don't you go to beauty school?" And I went, "Okay." It was like, I don't have any now. I don't
Well,
have
I'm not
anything,
doing
so I
anything
might as well
better.
go to beauty school. And
Right.
I loved it right from the start. And and I worked with really good people and uh, learn from. And my thing is learning from people. And I'm amazing copycat. I could look at
Yes.
like a Sassoon wedge and I could copy it. I could visually copy it. And then I cut it. You know what I mean? I could see it. So why not? Just like somebody cuts a bob and they want to do an A-line bob with a really short back with a double baseline with a graduated neckline and they leave it too long. It's like,
Yeah.
don't you see? Here's the picture. Don't you see it? And now the hair is sitting on her shoulder.
Well,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people can see it. That's the
Yeah.
problem. A lot of people think they can be hairdressers and they just get the basics down, but they don't have the organic way of seeing and touching and
I
feeling and being
guess. Yeah.
tactile.
But
So
here's the thing, like right now, what everyone's doing is they're going straight to YouTube. They're going to YouTube University to go through and learn
Right.
haircuts.
Sure.
And one of the things that I just listened to yesterday morning was that watching on a computer, you skim. You're not really learning. You learn from person to person. That's where the true education comes from. And that's why I have to tell a lot of hairdressers until you have someone watching you, watching your body, watching your arm position, and then showing you exactly what to do, that's
Exactly.
when you get it. That's
But
when you get the true education.
yeah, what we're doing, there's a reason behind every step that we do, and people don't understand that. And I have to explain that to clients constantly. This is why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm doing. And if you have repetition, you're consistent, then you're not going to mess up most of the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, if and you can't become lazy. You can't become like complacent. It's
Right.
always like, would this haircut be in a show? I had
Right.
a great experience. I decided to put together a little talk show, and I went to the IBS show with a camera and a mic, and I was interviewing people. Just it never. It's on YouTube, and I interviewed a Japanese team, Lisa Yamasaki. Have you ever seen them?
No, huh?
Sounds
Okay,
familiar.
go on YouTube and look at my all my videos.
Okay.
And there's one. It's called I can't remember I named the show, but it's I'm at the IBS show, and I go backstage, and here's these amazing pieces, and all handmade, and I'm just flipping out over it, having so much fun, and I met, and then I filmed their whole show, and I it's some of it's on YouTube, and I became friends with them, and I said I said to them, why don't you let me cut hair with Lisa on stage? And she goes, okay, because I know the Japanese way of cutting, this flicking fast that's what I used when I cut hair on stage, when I cut hair to music. And I saw it at a show with Sassoon and a Japanese team.
Yeah.
And Sassoon came out, and I'm watching. And then the Japanese came out, and I went, oh my God, God sent it to me. This is what I'm going to do on stage. And I got like giant scissors that was like throwing hair in the audience, and people were like flipping out. Women were throwing their underwear at me, and it was fabulous.
I love it.
So, no, I exaggerated. But it was so, I can't tell you. And the opening song was "We Will Rock You" by Queen
Hell
at my
yeah.
shows, and I'm standing backstage and it's going, we will rock. The hair in my arms were like, what was happening to me inside was I can't even express. And I got
Yeah.
out there and I started cutting hair to that music, and then I went into uh, uh, fast classical music. I put all the music together myself, so I knew where the beat was going. I knew where the flow was going to go, and I cut a really strong geometric haircut,
Uh-huh.
which was great. But it's the teaching and people coming up to me afterwards and go, I really love this class. I really love the show. It taught me so much. And I mean, your hair is great. So you must be into cutting extreme haircut, right?
Myself?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first, I did an apprenticeship under a young woman that was Paul Mitchell trained, and it wasn't my favorite. And then I was also a makeup artist for Bedhead, and they were shattering everything out at the time. And then I went to work at a Japanese salon, and the owner was Vidal Sassoon trained. So when you're saying you're learning that Japanese flipping the hair and flipping the hair and
Right,
seeing where
right.
it lies, I connected with that right away. And so yeah, I still cut very much Vidal Sassoon. I've been to several trainings, and 2 in Santa Monica, 1 in San Francisco, and it's still my jam. But once I found Vidal Sassoon, and I'm very I like geometry, so it really connected with me. So
Yeah,
when I was
fabulous.
when I was watching that A-line bob you were cutting, and I geeked out. I watched it a few times with the texturizing shears. I'm all, whoa, how did he do that? I'm going to try it. Yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah, I use the texturizing shear like a straight shear.
Yeah, I
You
saw
see,
that.
straight
Yep.
shear goes boom. So I got to go boom, 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 boom. Then
Right.
it cuts it blunt. So I cut blunt as I could go with the texturizing scissor.
And then
Yeah.
you went back, and then yeah, it was so condensed and awesome that I now know I don't have to do that every single parting and do the
Right.
the hairline parting each way around. And so I'm gonna give it a try.
You could
Yeah,
cut
you're
a fabulous geometric bob in 2 sections. Because you know how short you want, because you know the line. See, if you know the
where the
line,
hair is gonna lay, then you're good. Just let
Right.
it do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let it lie. Let it be where it is. I mean, yeah, I'm just like golf. You play it how it is. Yep. There you go.
but use the texturizing scissor like get it blunt. I'm not going, I mean, and I can texture with it. But if I'm cutting a blunt bob, instead of cutting it blunt with straight scissors, I cut it blunt with tapering scissors, and what it does is softens the ends and they interlock with each other instead of saying so heavy. You
Okay.
see?
Right.
And we
Yeah.
were
Because-
taught to texturize with no thumb. Do you know
See,
what no
you-
thumb is? And
yeah,
that was a
right.
Japanese thing that we learned was the no thumb. So that's how we always texturize. So
So
yeah,
what you
okay.
did is you cut blunt and then you
Uh-huh.
texturize. So you're virtually cutting the haircut twice, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So where
And
I'm doing it all at once, because I can
Yeah.
control the texturizing. I can give it as much as I want or as less. See?
Right. The condensed cutting. That's great.
This is how
Yeah.
you know you're with a master educator.
Right?
He's like giving us a lesson
Supposed to
on
be the hard end.
hairdressing. I know. It's free. It's like, it's amazing.
I know,
I mean,
exactly.
I just love hairdressers. You know, some
Yeah.
hairdressers are total schmucks, but
Oh,
you
I
know,
know.
especially, I mean, you get
Oh,
into
yeah.
the city and you get to the guys who are charging 200-300 for a haircut, and they're impossible. You know, they know everything, and it, you know, but it's
Well,
not
yeah,
about the money.
it's
It's not
not.
about the money. It's about being
Mhm.
good.
No,
Yep.
That's what it's about.
I've always told my students, do what you love and the money will come. And
Yeah.
clients aren't hard to gain. There's 2 rules to having a good clientele. Be on time, do a good job. That's it.
That's it.
Simple.
Yeah.
That's
And
it. 'Cause
and
I've
don't
worked with the Chris McMillans and the Juans, and I've worked at all
Yeah.
those shops before, you know what I mean? And they're like, it's about money. Money, 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 money. And it's
Yeah.
like, you want to what? That's fine. But if by the time you're done, you're going to lose your clientele really fast that way when you focus just on the money portion of it.
You know, I've had people say, well, why do you, you know, I charge 150 for a haircut. So it's like, why don't you charge 300 for a haircut? But I like the people I do. Some of the
Right.
people I do can't afford that kind of money. People that are paying 300-400 for a haircut, they're not going to let you cut a geometric short haircut with the hairline, right? They're not that person,
No,
right?
that's true. They're boring.
And
They
and
want
my and my clientele came from all the TV shows. So people would drive in from Newport, or they'll drive in from San Diego. I still do people for 50 years. That, you know, it's unbelievable, and they still
Wow.
have cool haircuts, and they're like 90.
It's
Nice.
amazing.
You know what I mean?
And we're back with Alan Edwards. So one of the names that you mentioned earlier, who I remember seeing the movie Shampoo, and it was based on a guy named Gene Shakov, who I actually used to live next door to his salon manager, and he told me some crazy fucking stories about Gene and his shop in Beverly Hills, and also
Yeah.
like nightclub people don't know about. He actually had a
Right.
nightclub called the Candy Shop just below the hair salon, and I heard it was insane.
Yeah, Gene and I. So here's a great story. Gene was the number one hairdresser in the city, Beverly Hills, basically,
Yeah.
when I was in school, and I wanted to work for him. But to be honest, I was afraid to go to work for him. I was just a kid.
I've
I was
heard the
19 years
stories,
old.
And
yeah.
You know,
why?
I was just afraid. So I didn't go there. I went to a guy named Neil Sloan, who was like number 2 in Beverly Hills, and he
Uh-huh.
offered me a job. And then I didn't go there because a friend of mine was doing here at a salon in Beverly Hills called the Flamenco, and she was going to get married, and she wanted me to take over her clientele. So I ended up going there. And but so Gene he had the salon, and then he opened up the candy store with like Peter Lawford, and I think Sinatra owned a piece of it. It was a very, very Hollywood thing. And I think he got sick and had a little bit of a nervous breakdown.
Oh.
And then Sassoon took over that. So that's where Sassoon Salon was, upstairs.
Oh, yes. Right there on Little Santa Monica. I know that one.
It was on
well.
Rodeo and Little Santa Monica.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, that's when I would go to. That's the
That's the
the
one.
workouts I would do there and go to
Right.
there.
So Sassoon took over, and Gene was kind of out of the business now. So
Okay.
he took over the salon. So Sassoon owned the salon. Then Sassoon moved across the street from me on Rodeo in Brighton. That's when I bought John out, and I had the salon there, and it was still called John Peters. I didn't put my name on it yet. And Vidal was right across the street. So my lease came up, and they raised me to like $10,000 a month. And
Whoa.
and so I needed a place to go. So I used to do the hair of the fashion editor for the Herald Examiner. She posted Alan Edwards, the great salon, and you know the rents have gone up too high, and so the guy who owned the old Sassoon salon called me, and I moved there. So that location had Gene Shakov, Vidal Sassoon, and Alan Edwards.
Whoa.
Isn't
That's
that
some
wild?
history.
I mean,
That is some
it's kind of
history,
a trivia kind of thing, but it's pretty cool. Like the 3 biggest names in Beverly Hills all worked in that same location
Absolutely.
at one time.
Yeah. That has some history to it. Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So what were the crazy stories?
Well, I had
that
2
happened
clients
during?
because I always had because I always had two chairs. And I had one woman, very wealthy woman, talking about her new boyfriend, who they meet at hotels and have sex. And it turned out to be the husband of the woman in the second chair.
I've had that happen. I've had that happen.
Don't you love that? That was the stories. And then, crazy stories, salon stories wise, I was in the, 80s and 70s, and then the cocaine was flowing pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't know much, not to be stupid, but I actually didn't know much about cocaine. And I got tipped with a gram of cocaine and didn't know what it was, and opened my hand up, and it fell out of my hand and rolled through the salon.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody, all the hairdressers were diving on it,
They thought it fell out of their pocket.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Right.
So
Well,
the biggest lie in the industry was me and Jerry Cosenza, who owned Sebastian, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Jerry worked for John in the beginning days with me. We both worked together as stylists, and we were always competitive. And Jerry was a gorgeous woman, great hairdresser, super creative. It's amazing, but a fucking bitch.
Right.
She was just the bitch, the nastiest, right? And so, but we always had this war of the worlds going on. And so time goes by, I buy out John. Now I owned all the salons with Paul. And we started off with 3 salons, and then Laura LaFranc came along. And then we opened up Newport, Long Beach, and Irvine. So we had 7 salons. So Jerry comes to me and Paul one day and goes, and I didn't have a whole lot to do with Encino where Jerry worked. Paul was more there. And she goes, well, Paul, John and I went to Europe. We're starting a company called Sebastian, and we're never going to open a salon. But we need hairdressers to teach for Sebastian. That was the lie. A year later, after maybe a little longer than a year, I'm driving down Ventura Boulevard, and I see this very interesting round building. And I knew what it was. I knew it. That's a hair salon. And it had to be Jerry's hair salon. She took 27 people from us.
Whoa.
Encino Salon, 4,000 square feet, was empty.
Oh, crap. That's a lot.
Empty. And I'll never forget it. But she said, I'll never open a salon. Trust me. The word trust me.
Mm-hmm.
And she just lied to us and used us and got 27 people to work for Sebastian and go into her new salon, which was called Cassandra's. And it was successful for a while, and then she lost it.
I was going to ask, how long did it last for? Because I mean, that kind of person with that kind of character, I mean, her reputation precedes her, basically.
She put all the energy into Sebastian, not the salon. In the beginning, a little bit, and they knew. I mean, the hairdressers were spectacular. I mean, I trained most all of them, and she took them, and so that was the big lie. And then what happened was we were both nominated for Hairdresser of the Year in the 80s, and I won.
Oh, that must have killed her.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, we never really talked about it. But what happened was, do you know the Chadwicks? Have you heard of the Chadwicks?
Yes, I do know that name. Yeah.
Okay, they were huge educators. They were really big in the industry. Never owned a salon. They worked for companies. And his wife, Susan Chadwicks, I always flirted with her, and we always had a little connection. And John Chadwicks was very British guy that was just very Ascots, that kind of British guy. Apparently didn't like me, right? And then he was supposed to give me the Hairdresser of the Year award at the New York IBS show, and never called me up on the stage. And I was backstage with my models and never called me up to get the award.
Wow.
He totally just screwed me. I'll never forget that one.
That's the thing about hairdressing. There's so much competitiveness and whatnot. It's like, we didn't have any of that. Imagine like how well these other hairdressers would actually be doing, because there's so many hairdressers that kind of fall out of the industry because of it, because they can't.
When you get in that kind of level of competition, with me and Jerry, and Jerry was always jealous of me on TV, because I did most. I was probably on TV more than any other. Maybe José, kind of the same.
Yeah.
But José, the good thing about José, he never did hair. He wasn't really a talented hairdresser. He had all his hairdressers do the hair for all these TV shows
Uh-huh.
where I
That
did all
I
the hair.
do
I
remember. I
always
do
did my
remember
own
that.
hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still has a great career. He has $1 million salon.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right down the street and off of Rodeo 2, isn't it?
No, the Vidal too is gone a long time ago. He
Oh,
opened
okay.
up across the street on Camden, across
Oh, right.
where my old salon used to be.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and the one thing difference with Jose in that era than me, I never got backing. We did it all ourselves. We would finance our houses and sell our cars, and
Yeah.
and Jose was always getting money. I think he was very connected with Elizabeth Taylor, and Elizabeth Taylor was very connected to Michael Jackson. So that
Yeah.
connection always got him financing people to invest in there. But the story with Jose and
Oh,
Farrah was probably the biggest joke.
yeah. But now we know where the hat comes from, though. Where
Yeah, the
Jose's
hat
hat
came from.
came
Yeah,
from Farrah.
I think
That,
I'm pretty almost 100% sure that Farrah gave him that. I was there when she bought him that hat. Yeah.
wow. See, that's iconic. That's
That's
crazy.
very iconic.
I know. So from now, compared to when you first started doing hair, what do you think like the biggest difference is now in our industry?
Oh, very interesting because I've been through so much. I've lost salons, and partnerships have broke up.
Yeah.
The thing I always said to hairdressers owners, you must maintain the clientele because eventually your salon's going to go. Something's
Yep.
going to happen, and you're going to left with nothing. Which I always maintain my clientele, so I've always made money. And even going through when Paul and I split up, a great story is I went to a bankruptcy lawyer because I was stuck in Beverly Hills. And Luke and Rona, I don't know if you know, they opened up Lucara. Have you ever heard of that salon?
Look, yeah, I remember. I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so Luke and Rona worked for me. And they
Uh-huh.
came to me and said they were going to open a salon. And, like Menches, and that was fine. They
Yeah.
stayed for a couple of months while it was being built. They didn't hustle anybody. And I loved them. They were great. And all of a sudden, Beverly Hills, I only had like 10 hairdressers there. And I needed, and then he raised my rent to $16,000 a month. And it was like,
That was a lot back then. That's a lot now. But
Now.
back
yeah,
then,
this was
that
back
was
then.
fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, what am I didn't know what to do? But so that same week, I met with a guy in Studio City who owned the salon. Did you ever see that salon? It was on Laurel
No.
Canyon in Ventura. That was a great.
The Encino one was like the one that everyone talked about.
Well, Encino was the very first one.
Right.
And then as the years went on, Encino stayed. And then I opened up in Studio City. And the same week, I went to a bankruptcy lawyer. I met with the guys from Studio City and convinced them to give me 300 grand to build Studio City the same
wow.
day.
Yeah.
And then my biggest enemy was Umberto.
Oh, yeah. I've actually done classes in his salon, that big old gold salon, him and his
That
wife.
big 10,000 square foot salon.
Yeah.
And the reason we were enemies, because he used to hustle my hairdressers. And if he would find out if there was some crap going on in my salon, and then get in here and give them more money and give them a lot more money.
Yeah.
So he was always playing that game. So I had to do something with the Beverly Hills salon. So I put it up for sale, and Umberto bought it.
Oh, okay.
So as much as we fought, he saved my ass and gave me 100 grand. He gave me $100,000 for that salon.
Amazing. But yeah,
it was
he tried to poach me. Him and his wife tried to poach me too after I got done teaching a class there.
Yeah, Babette.
Guy.
Yeah,
Babette. Yes, that's her name. Yeah.
And
Sweet.
Umberto's like a multi-billionaire. He owns it. He owns half that street.
Yes.
He owns.
Yeah,
he bought all that real estate. So
And
but
all
so
of
that's
this doing
so
hair.
that's the fun shit that happens. That's the war stuff but yet I still like cutting hair and traveling and doing hair. And then I got hired to do a TV commercial in Australia for Suncell Care Products.
I remember that commercial. Yes.
Yeah, that was a great thing for me at the time. It paid me like $300,000 just to do the commercial. Out of nowhere, it comes to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about this business. If you keep going and you have a direction and you're doing good hair, doors open. You
Yeah.
just got to keep doing it,
Yeah.
but you have to keep learning. And that's where a lot of people get stagnant in our industry. They just get stagnant. They stop learning.
See, I
But
couldn't have really done it as big as I did it without a PR company. See,
right,
nobody
that's
hires a
true.
PR company. Nobody.
Right. No, they don't.
Nobody that I know of. I
Right.
had a PR company like an actor.
Yep.
So I was treated more like a celebrity than a hairdresser. So if a PR company calls the Oprah show, I was on INLA, PM magazine, the Oprah show, daytime TV, all of them. The only thing I never
Yeah.
did was nighttime talk shows. I never did a Merv Griffin or any of those. It was all
Yeah.
daytime TV makeovers. Regis and I had amazing relationship. I
That's
must have
cool.
done 100 Regis shows,
Yeah.
and I would come up with ideas like women who look like their dogs.
Yeah.
And
I can't
a
tell you
woman
how
who
many
walked out
people have
with
brought in
curly hair
photos
that
of
looked
their
like a
dogs.
poodle, and then there would be a woman dressed in black leather with a Doberman, and then I would do. I went to New York and did a Regis show where it was for Valentine's Day. So I had women dressed up in their underwear and negligee, and they put a bed on the stage with Regis, and they would
Jesus
get on the
Christ.
bed in little teddies, and Regis was like loving every second of this.
I'm sure he was. Yeah.
So I was always, you have to make it happen. And I would
Yeah.
go through PR companies. I've had like maybe 4 or 5 different PR companies because they stopped being creative. Where do you guys live?
I live in Seattle.
Oh.
I'm Salt Lake City.
Yeah, but I used to work at the old Allen Edwards Sassoon guy in Newport Beach. And then I went to go work at Pt1. I lived in Beverly Hills. And then I worked at Chris McMillan. And so I did kind of like the whole circuit. Then we went to Warren Trachomey for a bit until they closed down.
Wow.
I did the kind of circuit. Everyone kind of does that little circuit in LA. You're a hairdresser, whoever's going to offer you the most money or.
See, when Chris McMillan, when all those guys started happening, I was out of Beverly Hills.
Okay.
I wasn't in Beverly Hills anymore. I was in Santa Monica, and then I went to Brentwood.
Oh, yeah. So I worked at the Pt1 in Brentwood, so I was there.
Yeah. So Brentwood, what happened with Brentwood is they raised my rent so high, I had to close it. And I actually went to Pt1. I thought maybe, because I only worked in the city 2 days a week, because I worked at all the other salons. So I thought, you know what? Through all these years and all the crap that kept going, I thought maybe I just want to work for something and not own something in the city. Yeah. So I went to, so when you worked with Pt1 there, did Pt1 own it?
No, this was another guy named Sean. And it was a big mistake working there because I thought Pt1 still owned it. And then, so I accepted the offer, and then I was kind of like disappointed because I loved Pt1. He was a great guy. Yeah. Good hairdresser. And I thought I would be working for him, and that's not what happened. And that's why I went to go work for Chris McMillan instead. And that was a better choice afterwards. I bet. Yeah. Yeah, that had to be a great salon, I mean, especially after he did Jennifer Aniston's hair.
Jeffrey Ham.
But that's where I met Jane Fonda. I met Jane Fonda there, which were you part of Jane Fonda's new look when she went short?
No, I never did. I never really connected with Jane Fonda ever. Yeah.
Yeah, she was fantastic though. I thought she was a lot of fun. But man, she gave you, when she wanted to break your ass, she would tear you in two. She's like lit me up in the middle of the salon over something she thought I was saying. But that was Jane. And it was like you enjoyed it because afterwards you're like, I just got screamed at by Jane Fonda. How amazing was that? It was like
you claim to fame.
No, I've got a great story. It's not a shit story, but it's a great story. I used to cut Anne Bancroft's hair for years.
Yeah.
And she was probably my favorite celebrity. And Anne and I and Mel became friends, and they were amazing people to know. And Anne came in the beginning when I first started doing her, and she wanted me to cut her hair short. And I had the big Beverly Hills salon on Camden then, and I thought, okay, I mean, this is great. And of course, I'm on with my press person. I'm cutting Anne Bancroft. We got to get it in the paper. And so I cut it short. And she's as I'm cutting it, she's, oh, I love it. Oh my God, and she's very animated. Oh, look at, oh my God. And then he goes to the bathroom, comes back, stands behind me, and goes, "I hate my hair."
Oh,
I was just like, I swear, I hate my hair.
what do you do? Where do you go with that?
Where do I go from here? That's like, and I'm really busy. There's people all around. It's like, why don't you sit down? Let's play with it. I remember, and then I think I cut her hair for free for a whole year until it grew out.
Yeah.
And then I kept cutting her for the next, 5 years or whatever it was.
Wow.
But that was so funny. So the joke between her and me was, after I did her hair, she was never allowed to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's where
you put the shitty lighting so no one can go in there and start judging.
Yeah, there's something in that bathroom. You and the toilet doesn't work good together.
Exactly. Yeah.
But some of the celebrities were great. Like they were good.
Yeah, I had a lot of good, and that's the thing is that they were our money. You know what I mean? That's what people don't realize. I've had people like, "Oh, you're a name dropper because you said you did this person, that person." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "We don't charge them, so that way we can tell people we do their hair, so people come in because of that. So that's exactly what we did. We would bill their accountant, but did we ever see a check? No, but they were sending money constantly in. And we had agents as well too, because like at Chris McMillan, the woman who actually owns the shop is an agent. People don't know that hair and makeup, we have our own agents. We have our own PR stuff, like you were saying. We get the PR. And that really got us all the clients that we really wanted to do. You paid for it.
No, Chris was on it. I mean, you read about him all over. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was great.
Oh, he did. And Patty, his partner, she really launched that shop. I mean, it was like, and she owns the company that did all the hair and makeup, the agency with that. And that brought in so many people to the salon.
Yeah.
So it was like who's who. So you walk in and Ringo Starr be having coffee in the waiting room, and while Barbara's getting her hair done, or you're like, what the fuck? It was crazy.
But I don't know what's happening today, really, because I haven't been to the city at all. So I'm sure there are still salons that are going crazy there, right?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, now I talk to my old friends that are at this shop and that shop. Like, I've never even heard of it anymore, but I've been out of the city now for the past 11 years, so I haven't.
But you don't read about anybody anymore.
You don't. It's now.
There's no who's the star hairdresser or the 5-star hairdressers. They're afraid to talk. I remember if a magazine called me and they say, "Well, who do you do?"
Yep.
And you give them a whole list. Jose had the same list. They all have the same list.
Yeah.
If they walk by the door, they were on the list, basically.
Yeah. Jonathan Anton would come and call me at the salon and scream at me for giving my list out because like some of the Pussycat dolls or whatever were on my list. And I'm like, I did their hair. And so he would go to the shop and scream.
He's another piece of work.
Oh yeah.
And because he did that reality show, he thought he was just a big superstar,
Oh, he did, yeah. But all the shops closed down.
Yeah, Now we had another one when I worked in Beverly Hills for Tramp. Have you heard of Tramps?
Oh,
Tramp. Okay, yeah. Henry Abel.
Yep.
Sassoon. They were Henry Abel, which I love, a very English British. He worked for Vidal in London. He trained under Vidal.
Cool.
Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
And Henry and Lee always came to my shows. They were kind of a fan of mine, and because we were in two different worlds, but they loved what I did, and we were sort of had that weird thing. And I closed Brentwood, and I went to work at a place called Lux Lab. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, I remember Lux Lab off of Melrose.
No, it was off of
Santa Monica. Was it in Santa Monica?
It was in Santa Monica.
Yes, that's right. Yep, I know Lux Lab.
It was on Montana.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so if there was a camera, I almost beat up the owner. Jason, that was the worst, because I've never worked for anybody in like 50 years.
Yeah.
I never go to work for these two crazy people. But that's a whole other story. I don't want to do it because I don't. They're going to come arrest me for assault.
Right.
So I ended up working for Henry. So I ended up working for Henry for 2 years. And I'm cutting. Wow. And I was very busy there, busier than everybody in there. And some of the people didn't like me at all. Some of his girls that did color, they were like, who do you think you are? Henry is our leader. Who do you think you are? They were just, two of them were just horrible to me.
Yeah.
And here I'm there a month and I'm shooting videos like that video you saw. I shot that at Tramps.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and Henry is kind of out of it. He's like, Henry, you're not even having classes anymore. Where's your assistants? What happened? And he was kind of like, I'm done, basically. But
Yeah.
but one day I was cutting this great bob, and I'm thinking I'm fucking the best in here. And I turn around, Henry, two other ones with Sassoon were cutting the exact same haircut, and they were amazing. And I looked up and I was like, oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and Henry and I, he had a girl named Imogen there that worked. She managed Sassoon in Beverly Hills when it first came there, and she came from London. And her and I had a great creative thing going. And she goes, all I hear is this click, 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 click. I said, that's the tape recorders. I said, why don't you try it? Oh no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're-
you'll explode and die if you try another method other than Sassoon.
I know.
They were so purist. I know. It used to drive me crazy. Just use a fucking round brush, will you? You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
Use a round brush.
But
Now
they,
can't do it.
if I loved working there with them. Some of the
Yeah.
other people I didn't love so much, but working with these three of them were, kind of really fun for me because was such a fan of Sassoons my
Yes.
whole life. I was like this little kid. When I first saw a show in New York, I was like probably 22, and they came out and the models came out and they had ping pong balls in their mouth.
Huh.
And all these geometric haircuts, they came out like scary things with these ping pong balls in their mouth. I thought I died and went to heaven. It was just like, that was the greatest thing. And then, oh, I can't think about getting laughs. The teacher for Sassoons for years. What's his name?
Moody? Stephen Moody?
Yeah, Steven. Steven and I became really good friends because we both rode motorcycles. So I came up with an idea once. What do famous hairdressers do on their day off? So it was, and I had been riding motorcycles for years. So I had a Harley, Stephen had a Harley, and Irving Russ, I think they got a Harley for. So the three of us, they did a whole thing on the three of us, and they put it in Modern Salon. Did it on three of the most famous hairdressers. What do they do on their day off?
Oh my God, we came out the motorcycle collection through Tony and Guy. The parallels here now that we're talking, and then the company that I work for, they're just right in line. Everything that you're saying, you know what I mean? From like the 10-minute haircut to the Harley, we had the motorcycle collection from
What year
Tony
did
and
you
Guy.
have?
Frank got his Harley because of me.
Yeah.
That's why Frank.
Yeah.
Frank
what he
got a
rode, yeah.
Harley. I forgot he rode.
He did
Um,
ride, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but I still ride.
There you go.
I've been riding. It's been the motorcycles have been my other Alan Edwards. When I grew up in Hollywood, in a very tough neighborhood, and it was in the 50s. Can you imagine living in the 50s?
Yeah.
You guys weren't even born. Didn't even exist.
No.
And
I'm
in
73, no.
1952 or something, I'm walking around my neighborhood, and my friend's brother pulls up in a Harley with his sleeves rolled up, with a pack of Luckies in there, and the jelly roll hairdo. And I thought, this is a wet dream. I want to be that guy. And of course, I was never tough enough to be that guy. So later on, I ended up. So the first Harley I ever rode was Tommy Lee's from Motley Crue.
Really?
Yeah.
That
So Tommy and I lived in the same neighborhood. We had I had a big 6,000 square foot house, and he lived down the block with Heather Locklear.
Yep.
So I go jogging down there, and I'm in my little jogging shorts, and Tommy, hey, he's talking rock and roll. I couldn't understand a word he said half the time. And he goes, and I said, I'm on to buy a Harley, and I've never ridden a Harley. He goes, well, you do, take my Harley out, man, take it out. So I said, okay. And here I'd never even been on a Harley. And I'm on a big giant swaptail with giant 18-inch tape hangers. I could barely reach the handlebars. I don't know how I did it, but I got it down this driveway, down the street, and I had to go back, but I didn't know how to turn it around. So I'm like walking it around. But that was the first Harley. I mean, I had other bikes, like I had a Triumph and all these things during the late 60s, 70s. when guys rode Triumphs,
Yeah.
like Steve McQueen, Gene Shicrow, they all had Triumphs at that
Yep.
time. And then the 80s came, and then Gene Shicrow got involved with this wealthy group of guys called the Hamsters. That's the name of the club. And they all had very expensive Harleys. And Gene was got very involved with them. And then he used to come by the salon sometimes and hang out with me. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, so the Harley thing in the 80s was a very Hollywood thing. You know, Giuseppe was known for the bike thing, which I don't think he ever rode actually that much.
They might have
And
killed him.
yes,
Skinny.
he's a trippy guy too, Giuseppe. He's nuts, but I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
his
never
salon-
worked there. I heard the drugs were insane at that shop.
Insane.
So I never worked
And
there.
he would rent space to anybody
Yeah.
to fill the salon. And he never really knew how to design a salon. So we had chairs inches away from each other,
Oh shit.
basically inches away. And he wanted me to work there one time. I was like, there's no way I could work with you guys. You guys are
No.
crazy. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So that, you know, the industry is, and there's a million more stories of
Oh, absolutely.
good things and horrible things. You know, walkouts and drugs and clients and
Yeah.
having to close salons and lawsuits and whatever. You know, when you get to that level,
I've been
it's
there.
crazy. Yeah.
I've been through like two, like a lawsuit, and it's insane. And never from a client, always from our business partners. I've had people who have been sued by their clients in LA.
Oh, interesting. No, I've never had that.
Yeah.
That's some bad reviews that I was rude or something.
Oh,
But I
Rude,
probably was.
rude, I can live with. You know what I mean? But when you got,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, what's her name? Reese Witherspoon coming in with her hair completely broken off. You know what I mean? They sue when she's got to do it.
Well, you guys did a lot. You guys did a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
Chris.
No, that
lots.
shop, we did a ton. We did
Yeah,
a
you
ton
did
in that
tons.
shop. So yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot, but we weren't like Chris McMillan and some of the other stores were known for the movie stars.
Well,
Where
it's because
paparazzis would hang out.
His partner owns a hair and makeup agency, so that's where
Yeah.
we bring it in. I mean, that's what people don't know. Yeah, and that's how I got a lot of my clients was through that. But you probably did one of the most iconic was the Farrah that people still. I mean, I guarantee you, Chris is still trying to copy that haircut today.
You know, I think the thing that I did, that my motto was, it's not who I do, it's what I do. I didn't want to be known for doing a bunch of celebrities. I don't really care about that.
Right.
It's what I do on them. I changed Raquel Welch, I changed Donna Mills, and I changed Farrah Fawcett, and I changed Marcia, and a couple of others. But that's what makes the difference. And what I did professionally is go on the Regis show or Oprah show or other and talk about these changes, how important they are to people, the normal person, to change their hair to become a new person.
That's it.
Because then you walk in your business or go home and your husband goes, "Oh my God, you look beautiful. What did you do?" That's what it's about. It's what it's about. It's about Mrs. Schwartz saying, "Oh my God, I never looked this good."
That's it.
That's rewarding. The movie stars weren't rewarding at all to me.
No, but they brought the regular people in. You know what I mean? Because they wanted to get their haircut. Who did that?
The makeover shows. I mean, we did a makeover show for Lisa where we made over 10 women. 10 women. I have 2 trailers. I had like 10, 11 hairdressers there, and we were basically bleaching hair blonde, cutting hair off, doing weavings, and it was a sister's makeover. And Lisa was like, she couldn't believe it that something like this could happen within this amount of time. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
But
that's what I like
you know,
about the aha moment. When
I mean, how fun is that?
Yeah.
That's when you can go through and get that personal connection with somebody though as well. That's where it, you know, because you're going through and you're giving someone confidence with their hair. You know, they come in, they might be having a bad day, but when they walk out and you change them and they feel confident and they feel confident with that interview or whatever it is they're doing. Or my favorite is when a 13-year-old girl comes in and it's her very first professional haircut and you see them beaming walking out the door and they can't stop touching their hair. But it was their first one and they're like, that's awesome.
Legally, don't say 13 anymore.
Oh, well, you know what I mean? It's like their very first professional.
That's a joke. That's a Jeffrey Epstein joke.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. So when you give someone who's of age,
Yeah, but the other fun stuff is my Christmas parties were known all over the city. Because we had 7 salons.
Yeah.
There was like 400 people in my Christmas party doing more drugs than the cartels sell. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild. They were so much fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's great. Yeah. You probably supported Colombia for a long time.
Yeah, those days,
Yeah.
those days are long gone.
Yeah. Well, Alan, this was an absolute pleasure. We got to do another episode because there's just not enough time. You know what I mean? So
anytime you want me on.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna be calling you, even if we're not recording. I'm gonna be calling you. I just want to hear stuff. So, all right. So, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, and
you're very welcome.
To the next one.
You made my day today.
Oh, you made ours.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And now it's time for some shitology. Paula?
If you have 2 clients sitting next to each other in the salon and they figure out that each other is sleeping with the same guy, let them fight it out to the death. Whoever wins gets the guy and a free haircut.
Nice. Alan invented the fair haircut. Well, I invented the man bun. Don't believe me? Prove me fucking wrong. I'll have Alan throat punch you in the fucking throat. Got that? Don't fuck with our squads or it's lights out, motherfucker. And with that, stay shitty.
See you next time.
Hey, listener persons, if you're enjoying this podcast, please give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Prime Podcast, or wherever you get your favorite shit. It definitely helps out our algorithm. Also, check out our shitty posts on Instagram at Shit I Told My Hairdresser, where you can give us a follow and like some of our content. If you'd like to get your story on our podcast, go to our website at shititoldmyhairdresser.com. You can leave us a voicemail using the green mic icon or send us an email. And if you like us, tell 10 of your friends. And if you hate us, tell 20. And remember, stay shitty, listener persons.